All right, I'm going to move us on into the buyer's guide. That's what I think a lot of people here are waiting for, because it's, Christmas is coming. We're running
That's
out
how
of
we're
time
going
to
to title the video.
Probably. So, welcome to this part of the podcast if you skipped ahead. So we've got a couple categories here we're going to talk about. We're talking sub 150, we're talking sub $400, and then we're talking above $400. We'll and then at the end we'll throw in like a couple games that we recommend you all buy. But let's start with less than 150. So your budget is $150. You're like, I don't know, picking this up for your brother or something, right? What headsets do you get? What do you guys recommend? I know Jay here is probably our resident like tried all the VR headsets guy, so he's probably gonna be talking the most here.
I'm totally cool with that. He's our VR connoisseur.
Well, if your budget's 150, thank goodness you can actually get into a VR headset now, because
Right.
that didn't used to be the case. Whether you've got a PS4 or a PS5, it's getting to the point you can find used PSVRs in this range now.
Absolutely.
Or if you got a gaming PC, you can find used Windows mixed reality headsets in this range. But if you don't have either, you're probably not going to get into VR this season. Still, the Quest one, I have not been able to find one for less than like $230, $240. So if you're buying for someone, they've got to either have a PS4 or a gaming PC if you're going to get them one for this price. If you get them a PSVR, it needs to be 150 or less, in my opinion, for a couple of reasons. One, you shouldn't pay that much for a PSVR anymore if it's used. That would just be crazy. And you need to be careful, because if they're going to get a PS5 down the road, some people have had this happen already. They bought a used PSVR and they went to order the adapter that you need. And Sony's like, oh, someone already ordered that adapter with your serial number. So you're just screwed. You can't get one. So be wary if you're buying one with the plans of getting a PS5. And if you're going to buy a used Windows mixed reality headset, the Lenovo Explorer was one of the original ones. I actually got one brand new for $150 a few years ago when they were clearancing them. So try to get the Lenovo Explorer. There's an original HP one that you'll find pretty cheap, but it was uncomfortable and awful.
And what do you think? Are those Windows mixed reality headsets worth it, though? If you only got $150, is it worth shilling out that much in order to get into VR?
Yes, because you still get the full VR experience. And if you've never had VR, it's going to still feel pretty cool. Really, the reason these things get so much hate is because people have had another VR headset and they switch to these, and then they're like, oh. But if you've never done any VR, these things will do enough work to get you into it and get you having fun.
Mm-hmm.
All right, cool. Let's go on to the next tier then. So we got our mid tier with the $400 range.
Or under.
And so in this range, or under. So we're looking at the Quest 2 coming in at $300. Maybe a Quest 1 used, maybe around $250. And potentially a Rift S if someone has a gaming PC.
Yeah, I mean, the Rift S is $400 or less, depending on if you get it at sale or used. So it absolutely falls into this category these days.
Yeah. So I feel like this category is going to be really easy to talk about then, right? Like if you're person you're buying for, or you want to get into it yourself, you got $400 to throw around, you got a gaming PC, maybe consider going for the Rift S. The danger with that, though, is that it's being discontinued and won't be supported anymore next year. So even with that, Rift S owners, would you still recommend getting one?
Yeah, it's tricky. I'm at that stage now where I'm kind of like telling people there's VR is in a bit of a weird place right now where I can't say I'd recommend. Like, it's unfortunate, but right now for VR, for not PlayStation, for PC VR, I'm almost like, just save up for an index. I know it's $1,000, but right now the situation is either you get an Oculus Quest, which will be a subpar PC VR experience. You get a Rift S, which is going to be discontinued and lose its support in like 2 years at least. You get a HP Reverb G2, which is just prone to all sorts of tracking issues. It's not a perfect headset in so many regards. And like right now, all I can say is like the Vive was still really good. Maybe get a used Vive. Like it's showing its age for sure, but at least it worked. It was a solid headset, and you got you're getting what you pay for at this point for a used one of those. But really, you gotta jump to that $1,000 range. It sucks, I know, but that's for us PC VR people that we want to be playing Half-Life Alyx. We want to be playing Elite Dangerous. We want to be playing these really cool games. We're seeing a lot of DLSS support talk coming up. So hopefully, even if you don't have like the best custom built PC right now, hopefully you still will be able to play some games with some pretty good quality on an index. So yeah, it's just that sub $400 range. You're looking at people that just want to get an Oculus Quest, in which case that is totally worth the money. I wouldn't recommend one out of personal bias because I do not like what Facebook is doing right now in so many aspects.
But for the hardware itself, it's definitely a good deal.
Absolutely. There's no way Facebook is making a profit on the hardware right now. They're hoping to make software sales, and they're going to sell your data like crazy to make sure that they get money. Because $400 or $300 for the tech that's inside these headsets is just, like you said, it's crazy.
Yeah. So for the mid range, sub $400, we definitely, I think we can all recommend that if you're looking at a sub 400 range, either PSVR if you own a PlayStation, and maybe not even that, but definitely Quest 2 is the way to go. And if you have a gaming PC, all the better.
We haven't touched on, consider who you're buying for. If it's someone that's not into tech and dealing with things and settings and stuff, the Quest in this category is just the most user-friendly. Like, you put it on and you play. So consider that. I mean, like, my dad is getting into VR, which is awesome to see, but like, I still wouldn't recommend to him a Valve Index, even if he had the money to spend, because I know he's just going to get sick of fighting with it and just give up. I would still say stay in the Quest category in his, because it's just going to be easier.
Right. You can't really go. I mean, for an Oculus Quest, you get a standalone VR headset, and you can plug it into your computer if you want to play PC VR games. So if you really can't bump up your price more to get like a nice Index or get a nice Vive or something along those lines, you're stuck to that $400 budget range. I'd say the Quest 2 is a pretty safe expense at this point. That plus like a good either third party or the Pro Strap, something along those lines, and you've got a very, very solid VR experience. And it is unlikely at that point, especially for someone who has not owned a VR headset yet, they'll be happy with it for sure.
Yes.
All right.
See, I kind of wonder if so I don't know if you remember, but last holiday season, the Quest sold out crazy quick and nobody could get a hold of them. So then it went from being, I think at the time, it was like 400, 450 to the scalpers. I've saw some of them going for like almost $800.
Yeah.
And then so some of these people who are new into VR, and I don't know if like the supply is going to meet the demand this holiday season. Maybe it will, and maybe the prices won't go skyrocketed and everybody will get what they want. But if it happens again, for these people who or seeing these headsets go for like $750 and $800, it is so close to the price of an Index that if they have a PC, like just get the Index. Like that's insane.
But speaking of Index, let's go into our highest category. We're talking the high tier, $400 plus. So, Destiny, what kind of headsets do we have hanging out in this high tier?
So we have the G2 and the Index, my personal favorite.
That you've never tried.
Right. But in terms of pricing though, for this high tier, we're looking at the Index or the G2. What's it reselling for? $600, and we got the Index at a whopping $1,000 for the full kit. So this is the highest end. You only get this gift if you or the person you're buying for has a high end gaming PC that can support this kind of stuff. But when you do this high tier, definitely the best quality on the market that you can get for high fidelity VR experiences.
Mm-hmm. The only reason I would recommend though, if you're going to buy someone an HP Reverb G2, is if you have someone you're shopping for that loves sim racing. sim flight
Yes.
games. Like that is the only audience that should own an HP Reverb G2, and they're gonna be absolutely blown away, excited to get this headset for that because the visual clarity looks absolutely amazing, and the controller tracking kind of sucks, but they're not going to use the controllers. They're going to be playing with the steering wheel or a HOTAS joystick. So that's the only reason I would say if you're looking high tier this Christmas, the only reason to buy a G2 is if the person you're playing for plays Sims and plans to play Sims in VR.
Right. Yeah, I'd say that's pretty accurate. And for those curious, the HP Reverb G2 arguably has, if not the best, some of the best visual fidelity right now. It's a gorgeous headset, and on top of that, Windows keeps releasing all these updates to keep improving old hardware so that the visual fidelity just somehow keeps getting better, even though the hardware isn't changing. So really cool stuff there. But like, you have to picture buying this headset as if the controllers aren't coming with it, because the tracking is pretty bad. You know, if you're playing a lot of shooters, if you're playing stuff where you're going to be bringing those controllers closer to your headset, just the general build quality, they're not good controllers. They're like, I mean, they're better than PlayStation, but you know.
It's actually, they're so bad that it's a little even iffy depending on what you're dealing with. Like I've seen some videos of them that I'm like, oh wow, like it. And this was what people predicted because this was the same old technology. And again, same thing we said earlier with the other HP headsets. If someone has never played VR, it's still going to seem pretty cool to them. Just like people who had never played VR, played PSVR and got past the tracking issues. Like, it's that good. But if they've had any VR experience, these controllers are going to dampen their experience. Like, this headset, the headset itself is amazing. The tracking controllers, just forget those. You're getting this for the beautiful clarity in the headset.
Is it worse than the Cosmos, though? A chat user asks.
You know,
Cosmos has a lot of issues.
I feel like people have compared it to the Cosmos.
Yeah, that is not a flattering comparison.
Right. Yeah, just for those looking at those Vive options right now, unfortunately, Vive, I don't know what they're doing over there, but they're not putting up a good showing right now. Their stuff is fraught with issues.
Yeah, for the high-end VR market, I wouldn't consider them. If you want controllers, go Index. If you don't want controllers, go the G2. So that's sort of where we're at for the high tier.
Right. And there is the honorable mention of the Pimax headsets. If you're really one of those guys that just has money to blow.
If you're thinking about getting a Pimax headset, I bet you've already made your decision. You don't need us telling you about it.
Exactly. It's just the fun research bit. All right.
So let's wrap it up. Should we do a quick recap? So
yeah.
Or what was that? Yeah. So
and then I think one or two games per person, like pick this up and you'll probably enjoy it, because a lot of people, they'll be buying their, if a family's buying their kid this VR headset, well, what game do they buy with it? So we'll give some options there, but first let's recap on the budget options.
Okay. Destiny, you want to wrap up our budget options?
So, like, are you asking what games we recommend if they buy like a Quest or something like that?
No, I think we'll Wait, what was that?
Afterwards.
Yeah. So I'll just do a quick recap of all our different categories. So we're talking low, the budget VR. You want to get VR on a budget, sub $150. If you have a gaming PC, go for a used Windows mixed reality headset or a brand new one. If you have a PlayStation, go for a used PSVR. Be a little careful that they have a PS4, maybe not a PS5, because you need an adapter. For the sub $400 in our mid-tier VR category, we can't recommend anything but the Quest 2. The Quest 2 is the definite winner in this category. It doesn't require a gaming PC, but if you have one, all the better. And then for the high quality VR headset, unlimited budget, we're thinking that the maybe not unlimited, but reasonable.
I mean, in the realm of hobbies, which is VR kind of exits that world of just like an easy video game console. And when you get to these prices, this is like a hobby, right? You might be an enthusiast. This is something you're active with. You're spending a lot of time in. This is some nice gear. And in the respect of hobbies, even $1,000 isn't that much compared to some other hobbies out there.
Right. So for the VR enthusiast category, we're looking at the G2 if you're really into sim and you don't care about the controllers. We're talking sim racing and Microsoft Flight Sim, those sort of things. If you do care about controllers, our winner for this category is the Index. With the best tracking and graphics and controllers, it just has a good,
Just
solid
all
package
around.
all around.
Yep.
And it's been
So-
that way for a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Pretty much
we'll
since it
see.
came out.
Maybe we should do this
Yeah.
every year, though. I feel like next year we might have some
Oh, yeah.
competitors in this
Talking about
category.
the
Absolutely.
the Dodo headset.
Yeah, we'll
The
see if that
Deco
enters the realm.
gear.
We'll
Right.
see. But now,
Something.
once you get your fancy headset, what kind of games are we looking for? Maybe we can just go around and everyone can recommend 1 or 2 games that they'd recommend.
We'll cut out Beat Saber because I know at least 2 of us here are going
Right.
to say that off the
We'll
bat.
just say right off the bat, Beat Saber, can't recommend that enough in any category. But how about we start over here with Jay? Jay, 1 or 2 games, what do you recommend for a new VR user?
If you're getting a PSVR Astrobot Rescue Mission, it's good for all ages. The family will play it together.
I've heard that a lot.
It's the most adorable game. And then any headset you're getting, Walking Dead Saints and Sinners, it's available on every
Mhm.
platform. I can't recommend it enough. It's a great game. And it's every single headset could play it. So, great game.
Mhm.
All right.
All right,
so
Destiny, what are
for-
your choices? Yeah.
For Quest, I would say if you're wanting to use it without the link, I would get Arizona Sunshine. Like, that is such a fun shooter. Like, I've hardly met anybody who didn't enjoy that game. And
Mhm.
then if you're going to use it with the link, I don't know, because all the games I like, I don't know if new beginners would be into them. But I don't know. That one's kind of
Well,
a tough
I mean,
one.
you hopped right into Pavlov, and plenty of people do. You are
Yes,
okay to recommend it.
Okay. That is actually a really popular one. I do hear a lot of people talk about that, and that is what got me into VR. So yes, if you're able to either like sideload it or just use the PC game version of it through Steam or whatever, then I would definitely recommend Pavlov.
Mhm.
Cool. So I can't recommend enough. We talked about it earlier on the show, but Pistol Whip. It's an incredible game. It runs natively on Quest and also on PC VR really well. And the second game I'd recommend, this is only for you Steam VR fans, so you need a gaming computer to run this, but Half-Life Alyx is one of the
Absolutely.
best single-player games experiences that you can get on the market right now.
Mhm.
All right, Rip,
And
how are you going to wrap
I'll-
this up?
I'll do a bit of courtesy to the games that have VR support as opposed to the games that are truly VR, because you've got some good games that you can buy people, and even if they don't end up using their VR headset all the time, they can still get some good VR gaming in. And you got like Microsoft Flight Sim, that's going to be a really popular game for a lot of people, and you've got what was it? Well, it's hard to like give 1 or 2 because this is like you've got a ton of options when it comes to those sim communities. You've got Project Racing, you've got Grid, you've got you'll have to do a bit of your own research here, but there's plenty of games that have VR support that are going to be fun for the people you're buying these games for, even if they don't end up playing it in VR. My biggest pick though would probably be Skyrim VR. I think it's technically a separate purchase. But Skyrim VR, you take one of the best games ever made and you add VR support, and what could go wrong? Well, a lot of bugs. But if you ignore those, it's a great game.
Things happen.
But bugs and Bethesda Game Studios, just it's
They
a
go
very
hand in
couple at this
hand.
point. Yep.
Yeah.
And with that, I think hopefully that gives you guys some ideas. If you're still got some questions, we are totally around in the Discord. We would love to talk to you guys, give you some recommendations. What do you want to buy? You've got extenuating circumstance in your purchasing decisions. Whatever the case may be, we're here to help. Especially around these holiday times, we know that it's going to be tough, and for a lot of you people that might be listening on this podcast, someone recommended to you, you just happen to Google, hey, what are the headsets I should be buying? We know it's tough. This is a big industry, or a growing industry. Things are changing. The news article you read from 2019 about like the headsets you buy probably isn't accurate anymore. So feel free to ask plenty of questions over in our Discord community, and there are links to that everywhere. It's in the show notes, it's in the YouTube description. Hopefully it is not too hard for you to find.